everyone, it's been over 2 minutes and I haven't been raped yet. But I did have an interesting encounter with Alberta RCMP. Hi, I'm Diana Davison. As some of you may know, I run a nonprofit called the Lighthouse Project, where we help the falsely accused to build their evidence and their defense to take to court with them. And one of the things that we do is fly to court to be with them, which is what I did at the beginning of the month. I went out to Alberta, and the evidence in defense was so compelling that even the Crown prosecutor recommended acquittal in her closing arguments. Now, that doesn't happen very often, but for those who aren't aware, prosecutors actually have a special duty so that they're not seeking conviction, they're seeking the truth. But, as in the Mischief case, they rarely follow through. In cases where it's extremely obvious that the person, if not just, the burden of proof wasn't met for their conviction, it's obvious they were innocent, they usually put forth the strongest argument they can, nevertheless, in their closing arguments, trying to convict an innocent man. So kudos to the prosecutor in that case. And just so you know, I haven't actually raised enough money to pay for that flight, and I have another flight coming up at the end of the month going to the US to help somebody who's wrongly convicted. So if you have the opportunity, all of the information to donate to the Lighthouse Project will be in the low bar. As a result of this Alberta case, we've got a little bit of a new project that's going to need some funding, and it's pretty exciting. So let me explain what happened after the acquittal. Okay, so after acquittal, we go into the RCMP detachment, the local one, and we want to make a complaint about a woman who has made false statements to police, so public mischief. She has committed perjury, lied under oath, and she even manufactured evidence, which she presented both to the police, the RCMP, and in court. So they send somebody out to talk to us, and basically we spend 45 minutes of this guy coming up with every excuse in the book not to even open a file to investigate this woman.
These aren't the victims we're looking for.
We went in there with a binder full of evidence, and he said, well, I just simply don't have the time to read that. Like, I can't investigate. That's too much information. It's not that we went in there with not enough information. It's that we went in there with too much information. Now, this gets so sick that we actually said her initial statement was malicious, and then she goes back a few days later after she's had time to think, because sometimes you might lie to police just because you're stressed out, right? And they'd attended the residence that evening. She took a few days to think about it, and then a week later goes in and makes another false statement with multiple new false allegations. So this isn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing, this is a calculated attempt to mislead police, which resulted in 2 trials. So big public expense. We tell the officer that we have a text message, the last text message sent between the two of them before speaking with police, in which she says, I will make you pay tenfold because the guy refused to continue being her boyfriend. He says, well, that's just one text message. We're like, no, we've got 500. And he goes, well, I don't have time to read all of that. So what he told us to do, because he wouldn't even open a file so that when we contact him again, he can reference it to a file. He said, go do your own investigation. They're far too busy investigating other things. They don't have the time to investigate a complaint, which included multiple assaults upon this person. So it was more than actually just mischief. And I'll get into that another time. So he told me, go do some research. I don't think you understand policing. I don't think you understand the law, because he doesn't know who I am. But the result is that I go and look up public mischief. He says that it's a really serious crime and it needs Crown approval to lay that charge. So I would have to go get Crown approval before they could open a file and investigate. Now, this is a little thing called a catch-22.
Philosophical concepts explained in brief in a posh English accent. A catch-22 is a paradoxical situation from which there is no escape because of contradictory logical rules. And
I asked him, how is it that Crown is going to make that decision unless you open a file to present the information to them? All right, so there's more. He says that we have to do our own investigation and we have to compile it in a way that would likely result in a charge being laid, which is generally his job, right? That's why they do investigations, and they decide they're either going to lay charges or not going to lay charges, that we would have to do that ourselves. And so I started looking into this, and I came across something fabulous. In Canada, you can actually lay charges yourself if the police refuse to help you. So this is the answer to finally getting women who lie to police and make false allegations accountable for it. As we know, police and prosecutors don't press charges for things like perjury, which in the end, if people lie under oath, our entire justice system is a joke because it's based on people being forced to tell the truth. They won't lay charges for perjury. Police won't even lay charges for public mischief when you walk in with a binder full of evidence. Well, if they refuse to do so, in Canada, you can, as a private individual, go in and do what's called a private information. You go in and you get before a justice of the peace, you present your case, and they will call in a prosecutor who can address your allegations, and it may lead to charges being pressed. So, the Lighthouse Project is now going to formulate our own RCMP. That's the Responsible Canadian Men's Police, or OPP, Other People's Police. No relation to other bodies that may be called the same thing. So in order to accomplish this, we need funding. We also need the help of current or retired police officers who can help us to put together all of our information in the way that police would organize a proper file so that, we appear to have our information together in a way that they understand. And I also need the help of some criminal lawyers who can help us figure out how to file our own private informations. And basically what I want to have happen here is every guy who goes to police, and we will also go into police with you to support you when you try to make your complaint. If you're not treated properly, if they refuse to open files, that we will help you put together your own case, and we will go and file private informations. Now, this is something that's built into the Canadian law, but very few people do it. It's really unusual, and I'm hoping it will become very usual, because I want to file enough of these things that the government is going to be forced to ask why private individuals can't get help of the police so often. Why are there so many public informations being filed? What is wrong with the police? I want to force them to take violations of men's rights seriously. I want to force them to take false accusations seriously. The reason the RCMP of Alberta didn't have the time and resources to listen to our complaint and open a file is because they're too busy investigating false complaints. How's that for a problem?
I work for the phone company. I've had a lot of experience with semantics, so don't try to lure me into some maze of circular logic.
Help men get access to justice. If the police won't do it, we'll find a way to make it happen. Help us take the Lighthouse Project to a whole new level. Even $1 a month helps us accomplish these goals. You can also donate to us directly on PayPal, Lighthouse Liberty Foundation. That's a BC nonprofit organization. We also help people in the US, I've helped people in the UK, and I've helped people in Germany and even Estonia. Help men get access to justice. False accusations, public mischief is a serious crime. It's just not being taken seriously enough. It's time to do something about it.